Hey everyone, today I'll be reviewing my new 4.0 Reimagined MOC VOLTIX. Here's what the actual VOLTIX 4.0 set looks like. This build took me about 9 hours, I would say, which is a long time. The majority of that I did in about 2 days, so it was probably one of the longest build sessions I've ever done. I went ahead and took his gun out of his hand just so that won't get in the way. To kickstart the review, I'll start off with the legs. The legs took me probably about an hour of the build. They're really not super complex. I've definitely built better looking legs, but they work out fine. He stands pretty well. I got a lot of tight leg pieces so he wouldn't really be falling down. The foot design, is pretty good. It's kind of lacking. I probably should have built an actual custom foot instead of just adding onto a pre-existing foot piece. I used a big Hero Factory armor plate piece right there and another Hero Factory armor plate right there. But besides that, I didn't use too many Hero Factory pieces. I know some people prefer to keep it 100% Bionicle, but I feel like a lot of times Hero Factory pieces can add another element to builds. And so I don't use, obviously, the actual joint pieces, but I use a lot of the armor plates just to add some extra detail. I put a spike at the end of his feet just because it looks kind of cool. His legs move pretty good front to back. They can move in a wide range of motion. They can't go too far back. I actually put that limiter there just because I didn't want his legs to be able to bend too far back. And so his lower leg doesn't have just a ton of motion just in the knee. But besides that, his legs move very, very well. Now, since the legs are done, I'll go ahead and move on to the arms. The arms are exactly the same on either side, except for this little extension right here that connects the whip. I really like this big, bulky, gray piece that I put right here. That's supposed to represent some sort of battery. I did a lot of different designs that I don't typically do for these 4.0 Reimagined MOCs. I tried to make him look as basically electrical and industrial as I could, and the main way I tried to accomplish that is by adding tanks, wires, and vents. And also I gave him that kind of industrial gray look. I really like the arm design. They look pretty mechanical. And I put some red in there just like the actual VOLTIX build had. VOLTIX was always an interesting design choice to me because he had purple, dark gray, red, and blue wires. And red wires, but that was always just kind of an interesting color scheme to me. I put a lot of different neon yellow pieces on VOLTIX's head just to give an electric look to it. These pieces on either side were used on his head, but they were pointed down instead of up, but I pointed mine upwards just because I thought they looked cooler. I kind of gave him a crown of electricity. I think it makes him look more ominous and kind of just makes him look cooler in general. His body is built up with an assortment of different purple pieces that I had laying around. I did use some purple Lego pieces on either side just to round off the design. My favorite part of the chest is this purple drone piece that I used right there. That came from Speed Demon, and so did this purple armor plate. I like the use of these purple wires. They run along to the back and connect here and there. I tried to make the back look pretty mechanical, but without over-detailing it, because I didn't want to use too many pieces that I might need later on. I think the back looks good, but you're not really going to see it much, so it doesn't matter too much what it looks like. I tried to make this up here look like the central mainframe. I connected the arm wires to this piece right here, and I put some tanks right there that you would be able to see from the front, just because I thought that'd be a cool look. I really like how he looks with his head, with all of the electricity shooting off and with the tanks visible. I think it just gives him a very cool look. This is definitely my favorite 4.0 Reimagined villain so far. I used 5 of these vent pieces one there and two on either side, just to give him some ventilation, because I can imagine his insides get very hot with all of the electricity running through him. Now moving on to the review of his gun. If you remember, the actual Voltix set just had a meteor blaster, and so I decided to keep my design simple, and so there's not really much to point out. I put a battery back here, and then I just put 3 meteor blaster rails to protect the inner barrel. Besides that, there's not much to note, and so I'll just put it back in his hand so you can see him with his gun. Now that I've returned his gun to his hand, I just wanted to show you what he looks like up to Evo 2.0. I believe Evo's about 5 or 6 inches tall, and so you can see that Voltix is quite a bit taller than him. I'll go ahead and take Evo out of the ring and compare Voltix to a much more threatening opponent. Here is Jimmy 4.0 Reimagined. Oh man, apparently he does not want to fight Voltix today, but he's just gonna... Okay, there we go. You can see that Jimmy is a lot shorter still and a little less bulky, but he stands a much better chance of defeating Voltix than Evo 2.0. That's all I have to say about Voltix for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to stick around and keep following this project, it's called 4.0 Reimagined, and I will be remaking every single set from 4.0 in my own style and making them as cool as I possibly can. I still have 8 more sets to rebuild, and so if you'd like to stick around for that, please like and subscribe.